And welcome back to the 4th episode of the Sunday Anime Chat podcast. This is our May episode. I can't believe we made it to May already.
Yep, it's pretty crazy. Time flies.
And we're on episode 4. Let's catch up real quick. What have you been doing this last week?
Finishing up college right now. I'm doing early childhood education right now. I'm studying that. And so reaching the end of that, which it's been a long road, but I'm excited to start working then here this summer.
Excellent. I've had another appearance on the In-Game Boss Program podcast. This last episode, we were talking about Kickstarter projects. It's a new section called Kick It, or Should I Kick It? And the main topic of that episode was, what is a game that you want to play every year? It doesn't have to be very long, or you can do an entire playthrough. And one of my games that I like touching every year, regardless of mood, is the Arkham series. Right now, it's Spider-Man is something I'm going to want to touch at least for a little bit, get my fix in for at least a little bit of the year. Even a full playthrough would be fun again. That was a Spider-Man. If you haven't had a chance to play it, it's a very great PS4 exclusive, and it's very enjoyable.
It would make an excellent movie, in my opinion. I remember watching the game like, man, I would love to see this on the big screen.
Yeah, it's funny because they pulled a lot from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 in that movie, in that game. Going on to our lead topic tonight, we are covering a series called A Place Further Than the Universe. This came out in late 2018, last year, and there was a lot of hype around it. A lot of the anime YouTubers, naming off Giguk, Mother's Basement, Glass Reflection, Arcada, who does a show called Glass Reflections, had a lot of high praises. I kind of avoided the hype of it, but when I really like Giguk. Giguk and I have a very similar cynical view on when you hit a point in anime of your anime viewing career, even as a hobby.
Yeah.
It is like, oh man, there is so much more meh than there is really good. There's series that I still love Naruto to death, but man, did it have to be 300-something episodes long? Did Bleach really need all that filler?
Yeah.
Then you come across a short, well-contained, my gosh, that was 13 episodes. That accomplished more in one episode than 3 episodes of Bleach. Okay, and I love Bleach. Don't crucify me. But your fights should not last 5 episodes.
Oh gosh, amen.
I have got things to do. I got kids.
Yeah.
But, so, it came out in 2018, and it was done by Madhouse Studios. Madhouse has previously worked on Death Note, Trigun. Trigun was our second episode of the podcast. One Punch Man Season 1, which is on the docket to talk about sometime. Death Note's also we're going to talk about someday, God knows when, but definitely want to do an episode on that. Going right into the story of A Place Further Than the Universe, it's very deceptive because when you look at it, you look at a trailer of it, you really... Even Giguk with his cynicalness was like, oh, it's a bunch of cute anime girls wanting to go on a journey. It is that. It is, but it's not nauseating. It's not the traditional cute girl syndrome. It's
the cute high school girl that goes, konnichiwa!
It looks completely moe. It absolutely looks like it. At first glance, you turn your nose up to it if you can't stand that. But I'm telling you, hold your nose. Yeah. Go in with your feet code. Go in code feet. It's very enjoyable. I am so proud of this show for avoiding a lot of those moe tropes, keeping the girls out of swimwear. It's a very good job, Japan.
Well, I I call this show kind of the waifu sisterhood of the traveling pants movie.
Yes.
It's kind of a, it's still kind of your trope, stereotype girls. However, they are very innocent. They're very sweet. They have some normality to them because they do act more like your typical
teenagers.
High school, or slightly younger than that. Yeah, they're high school.
They're
girls.
high school. Yeah, they're 16, 17, and 15. They're all 3 years of high school. I know that's how the U.S. schools started doing that, even though there's a 9th grade center. So Japanese high schools have a grades 10, 11, and 12. 9th grade is still separated into middle school. And that's almost what the U.S. is doing with keeping the 9th graders out of the main high school.
Yeah.
In a sense. So, going on to that, the main character, I think she's the main character because she's the first one that was introduced, is Mari Tamaki. She kind of drives the plot too. Her character does a wonderful setup because when she went into high school, she's like, I'm going to do something big with my life. And now she's in her 2nd year of high school, and she's looking at her journal at the very beginning I'm going to do this in my high school career, I'm going to do this before I graduate high school. Almost this bucket list before you graduate. It's completely blank. She hasn't even skipped class too. It's just, she's such a straight-laced student. And the very first scene is it's a flashback to when she was a child playing on a playground. She loved gathering up the sand and having water sit stagnant inside of it and a leaf. And her favorite part of that was breaking that dam and just pretty much putting said stuff into motion. That's the excitement of life, is that first step into something much bigger than you. Well, when she is walking, she ends up skipping school one day. And then she quickly goes back to school because it was raining. And her best friend, her name is Megumi Takahashi. She's just like, oh, you should have thought about that. Sounds about like you're right back where you need to be. She's very much and God bless her, she's that friend that is, oh, I wouldn't do that. Yeah, that's a little bit reckless, isn't it? And she means well too, but in this show, it's kind of played for almost more laughs of that. But so after Mari skips school, she sees this girl sprinting by her, trying to catch this train. And this is a senior from her high school named Shirase. I'm not even going to try the last name. It's typed out. Kobuchizawa. There.
I think that's pretty good. Pretty good.
So Shirase is sprinting by Mari. And an envelope. It's just this big 3-inch thick envelope that falls out of her backpack. Mari's like, hey, you dropped this. She picks it up. And there is 1 million yen inside of that envelope. And it's great because she's like, oh my gosh, what do I do? If you're curious how much 1 million yen is to US dollars, that is the equivalent of $8,932.71, rounding off.
That's not an envelope you want to lose.
No. So she's like desperate. Hey, she can't find her. The girl, Shirase's already boarded her train. The only thing she knows is she's wearing my school uniform, so she goes to my school, and her hair smells absolutely wonderful. I don't know why she would sniff the hair. Maybe I don't know.
Perfect Japan. No, I don't know. It's kind of like it's adding in this anime that you can only see stuff. It's adding in another sense. You know, like smell and stuff like that to kind of heighten the experience. Maybe that's
well, okay. To be fair, I do work in an office cubicle environment. I smell people all the time, and I'm not even doing the Joe Biden thing.
Yeah. Come here, little girl. Let me sniff your hair.
Oh, jeez. I don't care if you're not my wife. I'm just going to get absolutely as close. That's the best part of waking up from Morning Joe.
Oh.
So she goes to school the next day, and she's confessing to her friend, like, hey, I found all this money. All I know is that she goes to her school and her hair smells nice. Mm-hmm. So Megumi kind of, okay, fine. I'll help you look for this girl. Mm-hmm. And Mari ends up going to the restroom just in desperation of trying to find this person, because I think she smells something. She smells that scent, and she works her way to the bathroom. And in this bathroom stall, she doesn't know it's Shirase, but it is. Shirase is absolutely bawling because she's lost 1 million yen.
Yeah.
And Shirase comes out, stares at Mari like, what are you looking at? And Mari holds up the money like, I'm so sorry, here it is. Shirase has the funniest face because it looks like she's about to beat Mari's ass. It's really serious and intense. And then it turns into the biggest hug in anime of thank you very much of finding my money. So the point of the money is to help get her onto an expedition to Antarctica. Mari is so intrigued by this quest by Shirase, she warms up to the idea, like, this is her opportunity of the time to do something with my life. I am going to go to Antarctica with this crazy girl that's spent hours upon hours working to get 1 million yen. The show is very good at foreshadowing. There's also a lot of creative backgrounds too. Did you notice the 1 million yen poster in the background when she picks up the envelope in the train station?
Not that I remember. No, I don't think I did.
But it was like it was an advertisement for a lottery ticket for you could win 1 million yen, and she picks up the envelope and whoa, it's like right there. There's all sorts of funny little things in the background too, that kind of convey what's going on or some of the context of what's going on. One of the characters she's seen. She doesn't have any speaking lines in the first episode, but it's Hinata. She is the third girl in the group. Describing the characters, Mari has short brown hair. Shirase is the tallest of the girls with the long black hair. Hinata has blonde hair and short. It's about down to shoulder length because she wears it up a lot. But she works at a pretty much a 7-Eleven equivalent to that.
Store.
A convenience store. And first time she shows up, she's a background character, just overhearing their conversation. And she also rings up Mari and Megumi while they're talking about Shirase. Shirase is cruelly nicknamed Antarctica because that's all she talks about, and she's kind of she has this aura of, man, that girl is so weird. It's sad. High school kids are mean, especially high school girls. That is
high school girls are the worst. Yeah.
I think one of your favorite parts was Shirase's leaving school to get to her bicycle, and these two bully girls are like sitting on her bike, like, "Hey, we protected your bike, making sure no one stole it. I think we're short a little money. Do you think you can help us out?" And what's so cruel is Shirase is unlocking the bike lock from her. It's like, come on, really? You were protecting it, my ass. And Mari sees her getting bullied from upstairs in the school, so she runs down and fakes, essentially lies and creates an excuse of, hey, a teacher's looking for you, asking about that 1 million yen. The other bully girls are like, ah, crap, we gotta get out of here. And Shirase's freaking out. Shirase, God bless her, takes everything literally, seriously.
Yeah, doesn't question that situation.
Doesn't question at all. And it comes up a lot, too, her attitude. She's very much the straight shooter of the group. Hinata has her moments, too, but it's funny because Hinata and Mari are very similar. At the same time, Hinata can just be as serious as Shirase. Yuzuki can be as silly as Mari, but just as it's very funny because they're so interchangeable personality wise. But Hinata's overheard them talking about going to Antarctica, kind of eavesdropped in. She's a high school dropout, and her goal is to do something with her life before she does any entrance exams into college.
And then here, conveniently, is this crazy girl that wants to go to Antarctica, and she's like, okay, well, she seems to really believe in it, and so she kind of decides to, well, maybe I'll give this girl a chance, and let's try. She's kind of inspired by her sheer willpower to make this happen despite all the bullying. Bullying is a big theme of this. How to overcome your bullying is a big theme in this anime.
I agree with that. At the end of the first episode, Shirase's like, okay, Mari, if you are absolutely serious, well, we're going to go look at the boat that's going to get us to Antarctica. Meet me at the train station if you're serious. And it's so wonderfully done because Mari in the first scene, her mom's waking her up, essentially waterboards her to wake up. She puts this wet towel over her face, and Mari's laying upside down into her bed. Her head's hanging off the end of the bed, and she wakes up gagging because there's a wet towel over her mouth, placed there by the mom. And the opposite happens too when has that drive to take that first step to go to Antarctica to meet Shirase's challenge. She's out of bed, the bed's made. The little sister, Mari's little sister's like, huh, that is new. So Hinata works her way into the group, the two girls. She's gung-ho about going. She has money. She can accumulate the funds for a plane ticket. One of my favorite scenes in the entire series, okay, maybe top 3, now that I'm thinking more about the series. I binge-watched the series this morning. 1 through 8 and 9 through 13 were just kind of ingrained in my memory. But one of my favorite scenes was this beautiful chase scene through the Shukaku district at night. It's energetic. It is an amalgamation of the series of life, spirit of youth, adventure, chance. They're at this meetup group because the expedition group is a civilian group. It's not with a bunch of scientists. It's a more volunteer. It seems like a more. It's desperately funded by civilians and donors.
Yeah. So
it's not an official research group that's going on this trip. But there's a meeting in this district about the meeting. Shirase's bright plan is to seduce one of the male guys to be brought along on the trip. And they get spotted by essentially the vice captain of the expedition and one of her right-hand man or right-hand woman. And they beeline it after the girls just like run for it because Shirase's like, oh my gosh, we gotta run, they're gonna catch us. It made no sense to me because and I like that because that's a teenager. Sometimes a teenager just says something that why they're not gonna beat you up. I don't think they are.
Yeah.
So they have a very beautiful chase scene. They finally get caught and Shirase is explaining of why she wants to go to Antarctica. Then the vice captain already knows why. But they're like, I don't know, this isn't realistic. And Shirase pulls out the 1 million yen saying, hey, you guys need funding. I know you guys need this. And the vice captain actually blows her off a little bit because, we have that covered. Going back to the foreshadowing of the show, the fourth girl, Yuzuki, she is in the background of before the chase scene starts with her mother. Her mother is one of the major donors for the expedition. Again, no speaking role or anything. She's just there. And I like the payoff of stuff because it's shown, it's not said, and then pay off in an episode or two later. Or even if a line is said, there's a lot of lines that you could excuse as a throwaway line.
but it explains like a character trait later or a hobby that a character does. Summing up, Yuzuki is a child celebrity. She was a child actress. She's a pop idol, essentially. She has her own music videos. All of her friends in school are only her friends because of her popularity.
Yeah.
And but Yuzuki does not want to go to Antarctica at all. She has no desire to. Her mom's really pushing for it because that's the kind of the deal. The mom rarely gives the option to the girls, like, this is your only realistic chance of going on this expedition. Convince my daughter to go, and I will fight tooth and nail to make sure they take you three girls with her. They end up convincing her because, they go out to dinner, and Yuzuki already knows. She sees through all three of their intents of, you're only here because my mom wants me to go. You're trying to convince me so you guys can go. And it doesn't feel sincere. I'm not best friends like you guys are. You guys are best friends. And Mari's like, no, we just met. And we're sincerely just friends with each other right now. And it kind of catches Yuzuki off the guard too. It's because they're really friendly to her. One thing that sticks out to Yuzuki is Yuzuki's complaining about, I'm never at school, I have this, I'm working pretty much a full-time job. Mari hugs her with the most sincere, I am so sorry hug. And it warms up to her because when a friend genuinely does something for you, you can tell, oh, they're really my friend. They're not my friend because I'm rich or I'm this person.
Famous
or I'm famous. The idea of, hey, take a selfie with me doesn't even come up.
Yeah.
Because the other girls don't care. They just want to go to Antarctica.
Yeah.
So Yuzuki actually has a dream about the girls going on this journey with them. And she wakes up. At the door is Mari and Shirase and Hinata knocking at her door. And she's like, okay, I really want to go with you guys. You guys are my friends. Going into the trip, so they can't ride the boat, the icebreaker from Japan. It hasn't boarded passengers from there. They actually have to connect with it in Singapore. And so they buy plane tickets to Singapore. They end up loading the boat. Some of my favorite scenes happen in Singapore and staying in Japan. I think I did send that article to you today. Japan and anime in Japan love using real life locations for their backgrounds, their set pieces. I think that is absolutely awesome. I think it's a very proud nation of, look what we've built. Now it's in our anime.
Yeah. But this one, everywhere they go, even out of Japan,
even outside of Japan,
they have, the actual places in the background and where they're going. It's really there. And they try to do their best to animate and represent, at least realistically as they can, the backdrop itself.
In a Mother's Basement video, he said it was so well done. People of that country actually thought their tourist department worked with this anime to advertise their building and stuff. The building I'm talking about is, it's like a hotel, and there's a giant swimming pool across the entire roof of it. It is absolutely gorgeous to look at in anime. When I was watching this, when I watch anime with Veronica, if I see a place that actually gives a name or a district, I'll look it up on Google Images. Like, is that a real building?
Yeah.
Wow, that is a real building. That is a real
district.
Just
to test how accurate they were in recreating the scene.
So going on from that stay, there is an awesome part where the passport is lost by Hinata.
Yeah.
And Shirase, she is hell-bound that all four of them go together. She offers up her 1 million yen to buy them first-class tickets so they can all go together. It's very sweet too. It's a very sweet scene. I actually got teary-eyed the second time. Because when you watch something the second time through, you have a lot more context to relationships, to bonds and stuff. Yeah. So, yeah, I was a sucker for this the second time through. I got really teary-eyed. I was like, oh, you guys are best friends. This is adorable.
Friendship is magic.
Yes. And it... What... Yes, but I enjoy that. I enjoy that because... Silly. It's not said out loud. You definitely see more action. You can say, oh, this is my friend, this is my buddy. Take a scene from the elevator ride up to Padme's apartment from episode 2 where Anakin and Obi-Wan are talking about an old story. Well, that's just talking about. I wanted to see that scene. I would have loved a cutaway flashback to, oh, remember that time in this? And you see Obi-Wan being incompetent and Anakin having to, with an eye roll, uses the Force, kills all the gunlings. I would have loved that. I would have loved... Show me. Don't tell me.
Yeah.
In a series. I think that's very insulting sometimes when you have to be told something over and over and over and over again. Kingdom Hearts 3. So going on to the boat ride, if you've ever been on a cruise, that is an absolute luxury ride compared to this freighter that they're riding on.
Yeah.
Because they're going from Australia down to the Arctic. The air thins, I know, in real life with the cold air. The absolute trip, there's one scene, and Giguk actually loved, this was one of his favorite scenes, where everyone's seasick, all 4 of the girls are seasick, everything is moving around. If nothing's strapped down in your room, it's going off the shelf or off onto the floor. All 4 of them are nauseated. There's a wonderful throw-up scene in the hallway. All 4 of these girls are absolutely miserable, almost questioning, why are we here? What are we doing? And Yuzuki kicks open the door outside to the ship. The waves are coming up over. It's raining. All the girls are getting miserably wet, and they laugh about it too. It's just one of those things, like in a trip, you know, if we're miserable, but we're miserable together, and that's what matters. And that's kind of the friendship is magic without it being said. It's like, you know what? It's bad. It sucks. I'm soaking wet. I haven't got much sleep. I'm seasick, but I have friends that are going through the same thing with me. Also, the lost passport. When I was in 7th grade, no, 8th grade going into 9th, my youth orchestra, OYS, we went on a 14-day trip to the British Isles.
Oh, wow.
I actually lost my passport.
Oh.
I misplaced my passport.
Yeah.
One of the girls in the orchestra was like, "Hey, does anyone have an extra black folder to have on the stand?" Because on the stands we were using, you could just see the sheet music. The conductor wanted everything uniformed. So I'm like, "Yeah, hey, I'll go do that." I end up finding my passport in my bag because I go to my violin case. I pull it out, and out comes my passport and everything. For those 3 days prior, I had completely misplaced it because my roommate, Dan Lee, and we slept in past our room buzzer.
Yeah.
I hadn't taken my Ritalin yet. I have horrible ADHD. So sometimes things that I do when I'm off my Ritalin gets forgotten when I have my Ritalin in my system. And it was such a panic because, hey, you guys are late. Our bus is waiting. Everyone's on here. What are you guys doing? We have to be in Edinburgh by this time, and it's this time right now. And so you're in a full panic. Shove it in. I instinctively grabbed my passport, my money, my traveler's checks, put it in my violin case. Then I popped an Adderall because I needed that to function. Coming off of that Adderall that night, guys, I lost everything. I don't know where it is. And because you're on a charter bus, you don't have your violin with you.
Yeah.
It's always on the bus. So I'm always just checking my immediate pockets. I'm checking my pouch. I'm checking my back wallet. As guys, we seriously lost my passport. The conductor's like, oh my god. Okay, well, there's a U.S. embassy that we can go to in Scotland. We're closer to that than we are in London. So okay, that's gonna be a field trip today. And yeah, I am so grateful that girl asked for a folder and that I had my folder. That gave me an excuse to rummage through my violin case. Because there it was.
Oh, man.
And it's a very... I think I pointed that out to you when we watched that episode too, was like, Hinata loses her passport. And she ended up having to tie her shoes. She was just carrying it with her. And Shirase puts it in her fanny pack instead, in her purse instead.
Yeah.
And Shirase figures out later, after buying the plane tickets and everything, she turns around like, oh, what's wrong? And it's like, nothing at all. And Yuzuki cracks me up because she would be essentially the motherly figure, but she's also the youngest in the group. And she just gives this stare of, what did you do? And anyone who gets the stare cannot. Yeah. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. But going back to the ship, one of the best things I loved about them arriving in Antarctica is Shirase's been dreaming of going to Antarctica ever since her mother died when she was in middle school. Her mother was on the first expedition 3 years prior, but with the same expedition group. The mother went with her childhood friend Gin Toto. She is the captain of the expedition. And the mother ended up freezing to death. She started hallucinating outside in the cold. She got lost off of essentially the rope between the vehicles. Yeah. So when they have the snowcats out, and this is what I learned from the series, they're lined up and they have the 50 yards of rope, and another 50 yards. And that's to just hold on to make sure you can get to the next car. If you lose it, if you let go of it and it's nighttime, it's a blizzard coming in. Yeah. You can't see. No visibility. Visibility is absolutely zero. It's worse than fog. And if you wander off, because your natural instinct is to kind of wander around in that area, if you go off 20 yards that way and you keep going and then you go 20 yards another wrong way, you're 40 to 50 yards off from where you should have been. And she froze to death, and you can hear her dying over the intercom of like, she's dying on her back looking up at the aurora borealis, at the stars, saying it's so beautiful. And it's like, oh my gosh, holy crap.
It starts out being the waifu sisterhood of the traveling pants, and then all of a sudden it's, it looks so beautiful, and we're just sitting with the captain there and her snowmobile, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is so sad.
What did you think? Going back to favorite scenes, my second favorite scene, Mari has not told her mom about this trip at all. She actually forged her signature to go on this expedition with the school. So her best friend Megumi rats her out to her mom. And Mari and her sister, they're looking at her mom like, do you think she knows anything? Do you think the school called her or something? Or... No, the mom's slowly. She's prepping ingredients. She's cutting the carrots, and she just casually is like, hey, "Mari, dear, would you get my bath salts out of the basket and take it to the bathroom?" And Mari's like, "Okay." She doesn't know anything. It's all cool. She picks up the bath salts, and it's of a polar bear and a penguin, and it's like it looks like Antarctica. It's this brand of bath salts, and. It's playing scary music at this time. And the mom has the knife, by the way. Just slowly chopping. Starts grilling. We've all been there when you've been grilled by a parent. Yeah. We have every single one of you listeners. Myself, Veronica, my wife. My father-in-law.
Yep.
That's staying with us. We've all been there where your dad's like, what's going on? Let's talk about that report card, boy. So the mom chases her. The little sister has beelined it by that time. So this ain't my problem. This is under your problem. And Mari's at the front door. The dad's coming home. The dad wisely looks in, looks at the daughter, looks at the mom, closes the door, and silently exits out. Yeah. Holds the door. He's like, "I'm so sorry, my daughter." It's such a funny scene. And the series does a really good... It's a very good balance of lighthearted humor like that. You can go from belly laughing to bawling your eyes out like that. It's almost like the 2003 Full Metal Alchemist. There were two episodes that... What was it? Nina and the dog.
Oh, God.
With Shao Tucker. Just the most adorable snowball fight in the yard, and then the next episode, where's Nina? Where's the dog? Where's Alexander? But they're together forever.
Oh yeah, forever.
Without the fusion dance. There's actually a funny T-shirt of them doing the fusion pose together.
Oh. There are so many memes and so many, shirts and stuff like that out there for that, and it's like, you laugh and you're like, oh, this is just wrong.
So going back to, I want to hit on her really quick, because the last time you see Megumi is the finale and then midway through the series. She is so friendly jealous of that Mari's taken those steps to go on an adventure. She is so envious. Can't believe she's made friends outside of her. So she tries her best to almost sabotage the trip and to lower her confidence, and she ends up trying to be, hey, we're not friends anymore. It's a stupid reason, but you're gonna be doing this. And Mari, God bless her, just gives her the biggest hug of like, we're always gonna be friends. This is not gonna change anything. I thought that was a beautifully well done scene. I'm not sure your opinion. I was crying. I was
very mature for... I don't really see a lot of high schoolers acting that mature. That was a very mature moment for what's usually there. Because usually at first they would have had a little cry and they would have separated, but then they would have texted each other later, and it pretty much they would have acted like it never happened. That's the typical teenager. Like, you have a moment, but then 5 minutes later you're cool again.
Yeah.
But this was a very mature make-up kind of moment that they go through.
After the seasick episode, which is really one of the funniest episodes, they finally make it to Antarctica. I love the payoff because Shirase's just been getting shit on for 3 years straight of all this girl does is go to work this job.
Yeah.
All she talks about is going to Antarctica. Right. She just needs to shut up and fall in line. And what's sad is that's kind of the mindset of... I'm quoting a YouTuber named Gaijin Goomba. He actually taught English in Japan, and when he was doing an English class, he was teaching English to his students, and he gets onto one of the students for not paying attention, and the teacher of the class pulls him aside saying, "You're boring them. A lot of these kids have no aspiration to leave Japan. They just... This is it for them. This is their cradle. This is their grave, is this country." Yeah. And you can definitely see, and with that in mind, you can definitely see why Shirase is kind of bullied into, just, what are you doing? What are you talking about? You're not going to do anything at all.
Right, you're never going to go. They'll never let a high schooler do that and stuff like that.
And it happens in 3 and 4. I completely overlooked this in the first time, but Shirase's just like, when I finally make it there, I'm just going to every single person, I'm going to say, in your face, just... And that's what happens when they finally get there. They all 4 girls kind of in unison just say in your face, just all the opposition, everything that's happened, all the seasickness. One of the scenes, going back to the chase scene, of being excellent foreshadowing, these older girls who are running down the trio are fit. They are in excellent athletic condition. Well, yeah, but some people their age are, but these girls are really in condition. And the reason why is you're supposed to keep yourself fit going on the Antarctic expedition. Everyone who's on the expedition is required to run laps or walk laps to stay physically fit. Some around the top of the ship. I just thought that was such a neat thing. I was like, oh, okay, now I'm watching this and that. I wondered, because a lot of people just aren't physically fit.
Yeah.
At that age. And you almost excuse it as an anime. You could do that. It's just an anime. Everyone's physically fit. No, these good people, here's the why.
Well, they show that they start out very unphysically fit. I mean, it's a struggle. They're lifting weights in one scene, and they're like, oh, we can't do it. So, yeah, they have to...
I was talking about the older...
Oh, the older ones? Yeah.
The expedition girls.
It looks really different juxtaposed to them because they're struggling to keep up while all these other people that have, various age groups, they're just like running circles around them because they can do that.
Going into the other thing, too, was Hinata was actually bullied, too, by her track teammates. And I like that throwback to, like, Hinata makes a comment of, like, when they're running from the explorers, Mari's like, man, you're really fast at this. And Hinata's like, I'm only a short distance. It's like, okay, I like that payoff.
Yeah.
Going into actually getting into Antarctica... Some of the most beautiful scenery I've seen animated. When I was watching this with you, I kept joking, this is the Lost Ghibli film. Just aesthetically beautiful. It almost works as a Ghibli film because a lot of the Ghibli films have female protagonists, female leads. They're not sexualized. They're not... And this kind of hit that point, too, of like... most, at this point, Moe shows... is an obnoxious amount of cuteness. Ghibli protagonists are never that, in my opinion. No. The closest thing I can think of is Ponyo, but that's more adorable than sexy cute.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kept stressing, this is the Lost Ghibli film. This is like a full series, and just tone, characters, relationships, and scenery. You will be hard-pressed to find a more beautifully animated and scenic series. That's just my opinion. What is your opinion on it?
Ghibli, it doesn't have that kind of feel to me. His is much more fantasy.
More whimsical.
His females also feel different. His females feel even more realistic to me than these. Mm-hmm. This is just a slice of... the typical slice of life anime has beautiful animation. Yes. I mean, animation in anime has improved drastically over the years, and in many animes you can look at their backgrounds and like, wow, this is an actual place, and wow, this looks beautiful. It's just this series has stepped it up. They've improved their slice of life. Really, for me, this whole thing just could have been a 2-hour movie.
Yeah,
this thing felt like it could have been a movie, and they just kind of stretched it out into a series. For kind of like, it's like a Zen movie. You can sit back, watch it, enjoy the beautiful atmosphere, enjoy the snow, enjoy the penguins, enjoy the realistic places. But and there's a few moments that really touch you and make you cry, but otherwise it's just a relaxing slice of life.
And I think too why I jokingly called it the Lost Ghibli film is when I watch something just so beautifully animated, it kind of takes my breath away. Seeing an animated Antarctica, all the wildlife, all the scenery, just seeing this vast horizon that just goes on, this flat sheet of ice, it's just wow. I'm going on to Google Images. Man, they did some research.
Yeah.
And hats off to Madhouse Animation Studio.
Yep.
So, the point of the trip, personally for Shirase, each girl kind of has The other three girls definitely have the aspiration of just doing something with their life. Shirase has probably the most heartfelt one of coming to peace with her mother's death. This also holds true to the captain, Gin Todo, Kane, the vice captain. A lot of the crew members were the same crew members that were on the expedition, the first civilian expedition 3 years ago, where the mother died. That death led to a lot of ramifications because of funding problem. A lot of donors pulled out. That's why it's taken so long for them to get back. So, the in-your-face mantra, and when I was watching this too, was very reminiscent of the crew too. It's something that they had to prove for themselves after such a horrific... Because you don't want to lose somebody. I cannot even imagine the real life aspect of someone not making it back.
Yeah.
Someone so free... Because the mom is almost an amalgamation of Mari and Hinata. She was very outgoing. She was very free-spirited compared to the daughter. And I like the daughter's personality because the dad's hardly there. She lives with the grandmother. Her mom's died. So that definitely changes you. Or your character, your outlook especially.
Yeah.
But yeah, for Shirase, it's definitely coming to terms with her mother's death. They make it back to the base where this outpost where her mother stayed with the other members, and Shirase is just glad to be there. It's been 3 years. She's just glad, and the other girls are like, there has got to be some. It's very heartwarming because they are running through frantically looking for any sign that the mother was there. One of the things I ignored the first time was Shirase is always keeping track of her trip, and she's emailing her mom. And it's like, well, but the mom's dead, but she keeps emailing her mom. And pictures of the trip, where they are, where they're going, where they are on the expedition. And one of the girls, Yuzuki, finds a laptop. It's a picture of the mom to Gin and Shirase when she was younger. And this happens on episode 12. It's such a good scene. It ends on such a downer because you could have had this end on episode 12.
You could.
You could have.
Thankfully, they didn't, though.
Thankfully,
because
you didn't, because
that was a really tough one to go from.
A rough way to end it. But episode 13 kind of resolves a lot of the plot points. They open up the laptop in episode 13, and there's just hundreds of emails from Shirase to her mother. And I like it too because she has that piece of that her mother was there. The other thing I really liked was they left the laptop with the captain, Gin Todo. The relationship between Gin and Shirase is so awkward because it's like... But it's awkward because they don't talk a lot. They almost kind of avoid each other. And it's just like, when are you guys are kind of... You're both healing from this loss.
They're actually very much alike. They're both straight guys. And both, they get down to the nitty-gritty. They don't just talk on. They don't really socialize with everyone. They're not outgoing. They're both obsessed with penguins. That's how they connected early on when she was a girl, was they were watching a program about penguins, and they both kind of connected there. So they've always kind of had a hard time communicating with each other because they're both of them not very good communicators.
Yeah. One of the running jokes is Shirase is the headstrong leader, definitely, but put her in front of a camera with a microphone, completely shuts down. It is absolute comic gold that I love those scenes. Going on to the laptop, Shirase leaves it with Gin. Also, Shirase cuts her long, beautiful hair. I
It
almost
looks more like her mom's then,
It
because
looks
her
like her
mom
mom's.
had shorter hair, and I think that's kind of what she's going. It's like her long hair is almost like some girls set a goal. I won't cut my hair until this happens. Well, it kind of changed into that. I won't cut my hair until I'm okay again, because she acted
Yeah.
okay, but she wasn't okay until she put that to bed, basically.
Symbolically, it's a burden off your shoulder.
Yeah, yeah,
And
exactly.
it definitely is a transformation. It's like a molting of the skin.
Yeah.
Like a snake molts its skin.
Yeah, she turns over a new leaf. Yeah,
and I think it was really well done. The big payoff at the end was seeing the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the highlights of the animation. That you can definitely tell where budget went in this show.
Yeah.
And it never felt shortcutted too. When I was binge watching it this morning and this afternoon, I really couldn't tell where they made shortcuts in with animation. It's not based off a manga. It was just an open original anime. So an open original anime is something is not predated by a manga or a short story. It's just, hey, we have this story, we're gonna animate it.
Yeah.
Cowboy Bebop is an example of one that did not have a manga. Wolf's Rain, the manga actually came after the anime. The second half of Full Metal Alchemist, in a sense, is anime original because the manga was still going at that time. The other girl, the sense of accomplishment, I just love that. It's a very heartwarming. I think it's a very good coming of age story.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I would describe the series in general. Going into closing thoughts, would you recommend this?
Yeah, I would recommend this to certain people. If, some people are only into anime more for the action and more for, the real stereotypic shojin kind of samurai stuff. I wouldn't recommend that. If you love things with just beautiful animation and you can appreciate a more slower moving, cute, coming of age story, then you'll enjoy this. If you enjoy the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants kind of whole atmosphere of growing up, bonding, and sisterly bonds, then give it a watch, definitely. And if you like beautiful animation, then yes.
Would you ever go on an expedition like this?
Hell no.
Oh, what? You wouldn't? Don't you remember all the fun of them throwing up in the hallway?
No. To me, the throwing up in the hallway is much more preferable than, if your rope breaks, you're gonna die. No, that is not my... honestly, I would go on other journeys that were nature or were, you're not showering or you're exploring the jungle and stuff like that. But I wouldn't go to the Arctic. It's way too cold. I mean, I can tolerate some cold, but that much, no way.
Absolutely no.
It's a no for me.
We Okies, absolutely no.
It's cool. I could do Alaska. Alaska is as far as I will go. The Antarctic, no.
Yep.
Santa Claus can have the North Pole.